I woke up in the middle of the hallway when suddenly I heard kissing noises from my twin brother Mark's room. I took a peek from the door and had the biggest shock of my life. He wasn't kissing his girlfriend or another girl. He was kissing my boyfriend, for the love of God. I was so shocked I started nosebleeding. I barged into the room screaming, "What did I do wrong? Don't you like my long hair anymore?" "My love, Mark shoved him away and defensively said, "Get out of my room, you little perv." He then ran to the window and started pretending to throw up violently. "Oh, and now you're pregnant? Lagot kai." "Shut up, brat. It's not what you think." My boyfriend immediately jumped out of the window without any explanation and was never seen again, ever. He was a jerk anyway. Mama barged in and asked what happened. "Ma, Mark kissed my boyfriend." "Correction, her stupid boyfriend sneaked into my room and kissed me. Gadidi, it's not my fault that both girls and boys are crazy about me." "OMG, you're just jealous because I'm better than you at almost everything, even soccer." "You wish. I'm the man of the house. I'll do whatever I want whenever I want, and I will make sure to ruin your life." Mama glared at me. "Stop annoying my darling boy. Gay or not, at least his room is clean. Look, it's more organized than your entire life, you useless girl. Go clean your room now." "My room is always clean. It's just organized in a messy way. And did you ever hear him threatening me, like just now?" Mama continued blabbering, which made me sleepy, and I yawned. Moments later, I just dropped on the floor and fell asleep. Again. "Oh, hi there. My name is Trixie. I'm from the Philippines, and I have a condition called narcolepsy, where I sleep literally anytime and anywhere. But that didn't stop me from stealing my brother's girlfriend to get revenge on him. Like and subscribe to hear my story. You see, my annoying brother was in the same class as mine, and he made my life crazier with this condition. One day, our history teacher was talking about how our country was made up of 7,640 beautiful islands when Christian, Mark's best friend, suddenly went down on his knees and asked me to marry him. Was this for real? "Oh, yes, Christian, I do, I will marry you." Suddenly, our teacher kicked my seat and I was wide awake. "Detention for sleeping in class again, Trixie." I looked around and saw that everyone was laughing at me, including Christian himself. My stupid brother teased me. "Oh, yes, Christian, I do. I will marry you." So freaking stupid. Oh no, had I seriously said that? I had been secretly crushing on Christian since forever, but I'd never admit it because he was my jerk brother's best friend. While on my way to the detention room, I bumped into Christian of all people. He was grinning from ear to ear as he helped me up. "So, I heard from a reliable source that you want to marry me." It was just a dream. Like, ew, you're not even my type." My heart instantly raced when he leaned in closer and started playing with my hair. "You're really cute, you know." Huh? He pressed my nose and gave a wink before leaving. OMG, my heart. Just then, Mark and his girlfriend Julia, the most beautiful girl in school, walked by me. They just pushed me away and continued walking. I landed on the ground and fell asleep right away, and when I woke up, girls were looking differently at me. Were they drooling? I got even more confused at what they were saying. "Oh my God, who is he? He's so cute. Have babies with me, new guy. He can ruin my life and I'll thank him." I passed by a locker which had a mirror attached to it and screamed at the top of my lungs when I realized that someone had cut my hair short. I immediately thought of Mark. It was surely him. I stomped over to Julia. Her eyes grew wide upon seeing me. "Did he send you to cut my hair?" "Huh? What are you talking about, and who are you?" "Duh, I'm Trixie." She looked totally shocked and a bit hooked. Mark was gonna pay for this. "This is a joke, right?" Julia leaned in closer to inspect my face, and our lips almost touched. "You look more handsome than your brother." Mark showed up looking very, very jealous. It gave me an idea for a perfect payback. By stealing his girlfriend. "Babe, what are you doing?" "I was just telling your sister how she got uglier in short hair." "Come on, babe, stop wasting your time on her." He snatched Julia away, and the girl looked back at me and gave me a weird smile. Later that day, I was looking for her and found her watching the soccer practice along with hundreds of other girls. She was surprised when I sat beside her. I tried talking to her, but she was ignoring me. Why couldn't she be like those other girls who were suddenly going crazy over me? Mark turned in our direction, so I grinned and whispered some nonsense in his girlfriend's ear to make it look like we were flirting. "Robot potato." Huh? I so wanted to laugh at Julia's face. The girl looked so confused. I was so loving the look of jealousy on Mark's face. Minutes later, I had fallen asleep in the bleachers, and when I woke up, Christian was kicking the ball and flew it in my direction. Thank God I immediately caught it with one hand. Everyone looked very impressed. I really was good at soccer. Christian ran up to me and said, "I'm so sorry about that, dude." Wait, Trixie? Is that you? Why did you cut your beautiful hair? His disappointed face made me want to cry. I missed my long hair so much. Because of that, my hatred for my brother grew even more. Somebody cut it while I was sleeping. I bet it was someone insecure. I made sure that Mark heard it. It will grow back again in a month, don't worry. Anyway, that catch was perfect. You should be our new goalkeeper. The last one is in a coma since he got hit on his head. Mark immediately rejected his idea. Dude, seryoso ka? My sister's a girl and she just messed the game. Try me. Their coach agreed to it, and the next moment I was already standing in the goal box with all the players lined up in front of me, ready to kick the ball. They were all stunned when I caught them all effortlessly. Mark looked like he was about to eat me alive, but Christian was looking very impressed. Oh my God, Trixie, that was so cool. Suddenly, hundreds of girls were running towards me looking like hungry pregnant cats. Oh no, I immediately excused myself and hid inside the janitor's closet. I took out my pillow and instantly fell asleep. When I woke up, I almost screamed upon seeing Julia's face up close. She was on top of me, and she was holding scissors. Panicking, I pushed her away, and she crashed against the janitor's things and knocked them all over, making some loud noise. You stupid girl! Why can't you be ugly? I should have cut everything last time. No one should be prettier than me. What? So it was actually her and not Mark? What a psycho! She was about to pull my hair when the door opened, and I came face to face with a shocked Christian, a furious Mark, and the jealous girls behind them. Apparently, it looked like I had just made out with Julia. I swear, at that moment, I wanted to disappear. Julia immediately went after Mark, while I was left with Christian and the other girls. I was about to explain, but he stopped me. It's okay, Trixie. I understand. I wanted to run after him, but these furious girls were blocking my way. Could this day get any worse? The soccer finals finally came and I tripped over something out of nervousness. To my surprise, someone picked me up and carried me like we just got married. Christian! What are you doing? Just making your dreams come true. I was blushing hardcore when he gently put me on my seat and sat next to me. I wanted to be clear to him that I wasn't a lesbian, but then Mark suddenly squeezed himself between us and they started talking about girls and Mobile Legends. Ugh. Boys. When we reached the stadium, the game immediately started and it was intense. The players of our rival school were really good. One of them was already kicking the ball in my direction. I was so confident that I'd catch it, but to my surprise, I tripped again and missed it. I looked down and noticed that I'd actually forgotten to tie my shoelaces. I caught Mark smirking at me. Oh, that jerk was happy I messed the game. Thankfully, I was able to catch the next ones. Things got really boring in the middle of the game, so I fell asleep in the middle of the goal box. Minutes later, I woke up to my brother pouring water over me and the sound of my teammates and everyone screaming at me. Trixie, wake up! I instantly rose to life and saw the current score. It was now a tie and we only had 10 seconds left. When I got up, a player was now running my way and oh boy, those legs were scary. All right, Trixie, you're a girl and you're cool. You can stop this. He kicked the ball real hard and I jumped to reach it and slapped it away. My teammates in the audience rose to cheer for our victory. Christian picked me up and twirled me around like we were happy lovers. You were amazing. He was about to kiss me when Mark interrupted us. You did great, sis. I couldn't believe my ears. It was the first time he'd ever said a nice thing about me. Thanks, Skuya. When we came back to school, everyone was treating me like a hero and the girls were showering me with gifts and marriage proposals. I turned to Christian and gave him a help me look, but he just gave me a very sad look. Did he really think that I was enjoying these girls' attention? Suddenly, I felt brave. I grabbed his face and finally kissed him in front of those girls. He kissed me back, and I had butterflies flapping around wildly in my stomach. I looked for Mark, but I couldn't find him anywhere. I wondered if he was okay. He didn't go to school the next day, and I got a bit worried. One night, I decided to sneak into his room, only to get another shocker when I saw him staring at Christian's picture in his wallet. Oh my God! I thought he was jealous because of Julia, but no, it was because of Christian. His best friend and my crush. Grabito. Suddenly he spoke. I know you're there, sis. Come and sit with your loser brother. For the first time in my life, I felt sorry for him. I sat beside him, and to my surprise, he hugged me, and his body shook as he cried. You're not a loser, okay? We are not losers. Remember that. Christian has really liked you since day one, you know. Take care of that jerk for me, okay? I promise. The rivalry between my brother and I finally came to an end. And as a bonus, I also became Mama's new favorite when I finally cleaned my room.
Hi, my name is Tracy, and this is my story of how I went from rags to riches in the craziest way possible. For as long as I can remember, Mom and I have lived at a shelter. I never knew my dad, but I did know that he must have been a massive jerk to dump Mom because she was a legit angel. She was always taking medicine for her heart problems, but she was also helping people at the shelter even though they didn't pay her. She taught me that the most important thing in the world was to always be kind. On my first day in first grade, I noticed that everyone was wearing the prettiest clothes, while I was wearing an oversized t-shirt and shorts that came to my feet. As soon as Mom left, I took a deep breath and walked over to a bunch of girls. Hi, I'm the prettiest girl in the group. Amy turned to me and said,
Ew, you look like a cartoon. And so did your nanny.
That's not my nanny, that's my mommy. She burst out laughing.
You're as ugly as your mommy.
Before she could say another word, I attacked her. The teachers pulled us apart and made us hug it out. For the next few years, school continued like that. Amy became my biggest nemesis and was always trying to be a pain in my butt. One day when I was in the 8th grade, I was walking to school when I suddenly heard a strange scratching sound from behind the dumpster. I decided to take a look. It was an adorable little puppy trying to hide under an old cardboard box. I picked it up and wrapped it in my school jacket. Hey there, little guy. You lost? Just then, I noticed it was wearing a collar made of diamonds. Aw, baby. Someone loves you. Just then, a manic-looking man in a suit came running out and out of another alley. The minute he saw me, he charged straight towards me and snatched the puppy from my arms. Hey, what are you? Before I could finish, a woman dressed in really fancy clothes and heels came running after him, and she started screaming when she saw the puppy. Had these crazies broken out of some rich people's mental hospital? Oh, my kushushu, pushushu boo boo, baby, mama missed you. And then she turned to me angrily. You were trying to steal my dog. Excuse me, I wasn't trying to steal your dog. I just picked him up from the street. To steal him? Or his collar? No, to help him. I'm not some common thief. Finally, the woman looked like she believed me, and she said, Fine. You saved my Jimmy, and I don't want to owe you any favors. My car is parked there. Come with me, now. I said no, and that she was a stranger. Then she nodded to her driver, who made me get in the car immediately. Take us to the big bazaar, and let's get her whatever she wants. We reached there, and as the driver was walking in with me, I spotted the nearby pharmacy and said I wanted to go there. When she asked me why, I said the only thing I wanted to buy was medicine for my sick mom. I even took out the prescription and showed it to him. The driver walked back to the lady and explained everything to her. She looked really surprised and then nodded. Once I'd bought the meds, she offered to drop me back home. As soon as we got there, I realized the bridge between our two worlds, her fancy car and my old shabby shelter home. I felt kind of embarrassed, so I quickly thanked her and ran inside. But to my surprise, the woman was waiting for me outside the shelter the next day, and she had a doctor with her. She had brought him to check up on my mother. After a thorough examination, the doctor said the meds were not the right ones, and he immediately changed them. After the new prescription, Mom started to feel better in a few days. I felt so happy and relieved. I called the woman up and thanked her for her kindness. She laughed and said, Don't go soft on me, kid. Consider this a favor repaid. I thought that was the end of it and I wouldn't see the woman again. But to my surprise, the next day, her car was outside the shelter again. As soon as I saw her, I rushed towards her and hugged her. She hugged me back. I gave her a flower I'd picked up on my way, and her face lit up. Now that your mom is taken care of, I hope we can buy something for you today. We went inside the mall and had so much fun together. She took me to every boutique and shoe store in the mall. After I had literally shopped till I was ready to drop, she dragged me to the ice cream place, and then we went to the arcade. We spent hours playing every game we could, although she was even worse than I was. Over time, we grew quite close. One day when I went to school, Amy was lazily leaning against my locker waiting to torture me as usual. Hey, Patches. How many times are you going to patch up that ugly coat? It's beginning to look like a quilt now. I completely ignored her as I removed my coat, and then suddenly everyone gasped. I was wearing some of the new clothes the rich lady had bought for me the day before, and then they noticed my Prada bag.
What did you do, Tracy? Rob a bank?
Oh, I just decided to take fashion a little seriously. And let me give you some advice. That shade of green on your face is a really ugly look. Everyone was suddenly taking me more serious now that I was better dressed, and even coming over to me for fashion tips. I knew it was pretty shallow of them, but seeing how much it bothered Amy made it worth it. One day when we were at lunch, Amy and her minions walked up to me. She glared at me as though she'd eat me alive. Suddenly, I realized we were wearing the same outfit.
Admit it. You're wearing a cheap copy. There's no way you can afford an original limited edition.
I don't know, Amy. Yours looks like the wrong shade of white. Are you sure you're not wearing a copy? The minions' eyes widened and they started to whisper, and Amy turned a horrible shade of red.
How dare you? I'll tell you what the wrong shade of white is.
And with that, she dumped her cup of coffee on my white outfit. I was furious. And before long, we had broken out into a full-fledged food fight right in the middle of the cafeteria. The kids gathered around us, screaming and yelling. Suddenly, 2 teachers broke us apart and dragged us to the principal's office. Oh no, I knew what this meant. Our parents would be called in. Sure enough, 30 minutes later, Mom came rushing in. She took one look at us and started apologizing to the principal. Then she turned to me. I'm so disappointed in you, Tracy. I always told you to be kind. But Mom... No buts, young lady. Then to my sheer horror, she turned to Amy, who was scowling in the corner. Where's your mom, sweetie? I'll say sorry to her too. Those stains will be a pain to wash out. But Amy shook her off angrily.
Don't touch me, and mind your own freaking business.
The principal told Mom that neither of Amy's parents had time to come. So Mom just smiled and said it was okay. Then Amy and I apologized and walked out. Outside, the rich woman was waiting for me. As soon as I saw her, I ran to her. Suddenly, I heard someone say,
Are you freaking kidding me?
I turned around and saw Amy glaring at us.
You hypocrite. You didn't have time for me, but you do for these down and outs.
Wait, what was going on? Hey, watch your mouth. Who do you think you are, huh?
Oh, great question. Why don't you tell her who I am, Mom?
What? Are you her mom? You said you didn't have any kids.
Oh, am I dead to you for good?
Amy, stop it. Amy stared at her mother with rage in her eyes.
No, you don't get to tell me anything anymore. Don't act all mommy dearest now when you haven't even bothered to talk to me in ages.
What? You don't talk to your own daughter? What kind of mother are you? Tracy, Amy, I can explain. I was all so confused and puzzled. She'd been going around acting like a great mom figure to me, while she acted like her own daughter didn't even exist. I just turned around abruptly and ran home. I kept ignoring the rich woman's texts and calls because I was still reeling with shock over what had happened. But eventually, I decided that she deserved a chance to explain herself. And I told her that I would meet her after school. But as I was heading out of school the next day, I felt someone pull me by the back of my shirt. It was Amy, looking like a psycho.
And where do you think you're going? To meet my mother?
I shook her off. It's none of your business, Amy. And whatever is going on between you and your mom is not my fault.
You better not meet her ever again, Tracy, or I'll have you and your mother kicked out of the shelter.
Oh yeah? How do you think you can even do that? Her face twisted into an evil smile.
Oh, my dad's a really powerful person on the city council. And once he tells the shelter people that you and your mom robbed my poor mother to buy branded clothes, they definitely won't be keeping thieves there.
Just looking at her face, I knew she meant what she said. I hated being bullied by Amy like this, but I couldn't afford to land myself and Mom on the streets. I texted the rich woman to never contact me again. I even sent back everything she'd given me and went back to being my old, invisible self at school. Days turned into weeks, and before I knew it, 2 years had gone by without talking to the rich woman. Even though I kept my end of the bargain, Amy kept bullying me at school. And the psycho even started following me around in her car. Once I was buying ice cream at the grocery store when she popped out from behind a shelf and completely startled me.
Aha! That's my mother's favorite ice cream. I know you're still seeing her.
She kept accusing me of still seeing her mom, and of course, nothing I said could convince her otherwise. I was just glad I was leaving school soon. On graduation day, I ran to hug Mom after receiving my high school diploma. I heard Amy's voice and turned to see her standing behind us.
Aw, isn't this such a sweet mother-daughter moment? Sorry to ruin it, but I have some news that's too good to keep from you any longer.
And with that, she shoved a paper in my hands, and Mom and I stared at it in horror. It was a notice from the city council saying that our shelter would be permanently shut down because it had lost its funding. How can you do something like this? Do you have any idea how many people will lose their homes?
I forgot the part where that's my problem. All I care about is you losing yours, and Daddy will make sure it happens.
And I will make sure that it does not. We all turned around to see the rich woman. She took the paper from my hand and said she would pay whatever funds the shelter needed to stay open, and there was nothing Amy's dad could do to stop that. Amy looked like she was about to explode. Amy's mom turned to her and said, "Your dad is always trying to make you just like him, Amy, but I know you're better than that. He kept you away from me, but you're old enough to decide now, darling." Amy looked into her mom's eyes and shrugged off her hand.
No, I'm going to stay with Dad. You can be a mother to 100 street rats like her for all I care.
Just then, the principal came running towards us and said, "Oh, you must be Amy's mother. I've been waiting for one of her parents to show up. I wanted to let you know that Amy can't graduate. She will have to repeat a year."
What? You can't do that.
And then she left crying like a little baby. I was really happy to see the rich woman again, and I apologized to her for cutting her out of my life. "There's no need for explanations, Tracy, and I'll save your shelter. But why don't you and your mom come to live with me in my big, lonely mansion?" Long story short, we did finally agree to move in with her, and I was actually really glad that the two had each other's company as I moved away for a few years for university. I met a wonderful guy there, and after graduation, we moved back to my hometown so I could help the rich woman manage her business. I'm a successful businesswoman now with 2 beautiful kids and 2 doting grandmas who are always happy to babysit.